for another edition of the Nooga Splash Spotlight Series, our summer series that we've had since the beginning of June, and looking forward to ending the month of July with a couple of our local head football coaches, and we'll go and bring one of those guys on right here, and that is Tyner head football coach Christian Mainor joining us right here on Off the Bench Radio on Talk 102.3. And Coach Mainor, how are we doing this evening? Thanks for coming out.
Good, fellas. How you guys doing?
Doing good. So, we'll bring Goose Manning in here in just a second, but you came over here just now from practice, so fill us in. How's the summer workouts going for you and the Ram Train, and getting ready for Jamboree scrimmage against the Ooltewah Owls at Finley Stadium? So it won't be long before we're talking about Friday Night Lights.
It won't, and things are going well. It's funny. Last week I was praying for rain, and this week getting nothing but rain. So unfortunately, we were in the gym all day yesterday. We worked out, watched film, and then today we got outside. We got maybe an hour and 15 minutes in, and we got banged for lightning. So had to go and finish things up inside again. And so it's one of those things. We're practicing over at the middle school field right now. There's no irrigation, so except for the good Lord and what He provides for us. And so, like I said last week, I was praying for rain. It looked like a dust bowl, and this week the grass is growing. I should say the weeds are growing. But things are going well. Excited for the season. Excited for us to. First off, I'm excited that we got to hear pads pop. I'm an offensive guy. Coach quarterbacks. When I was here at Ooltewah, I coached receivers, so you'd think I'd love 7-on-7s. I'm not a big 7-on-7 fan. I'm ready to get to some real football.
And so, you talked about the construction playing over there on the middle school field. Talk about, for people that do not know, there's a big construction project going on over at Tyner, and, school's being redone, new football field coming up as well. So kind of talk about that and how your kids are adjusting to that. And, they kind of went through that last year a little bit with, not being able to play at Bob Evans Stadium last year, but still were able to, find a way to make the playoffs and had success on the field.
Yeah, so there were a lot of challenges. Obviously, there's challenges anytime you coach a high school sport, But when you don't have a home field, when you're traveling constantly, even in our home games, we played 2 home games at Finley Stadium, and we had to travel, obviously, to that. So, I mean, it was 11 weeks plus your scrimmages, so 14 weeks of us traveling. It can wear on you. It definitely can wear on you. And the thing is the 2 years before that, we were undefeated at home at Tyner at Bob Evans Stadium. And so when you lose that home edge feel that it seems like the Ram Train has had for so many years, and something that they've been able to build off of, it's difficult. And so, one thing that they just tore down, if you know anything about Tyner, they've got a 600 building, which was our vocational building. They tore that down about 3 weeks ago. The famous auditorium over there off of Tyner Road, they tore that down. And so they're starting on the football field. Now, unfortunately, they've got to take the dirt from the existing school, and I think they've got to go up. They were telling me like 14 feet in elevation. So it's still a project, and we're still a little bit away. I try not to look at the new school building because, I feel like the more I look at it, it feels like it's going by really slow. So, like, when I take a week break or I don't have to go up to the school for a little bit, it's amazing how fast those guys are really trying to get the school done. But things are really exciting. There's some growing pains, and there's some things that definitely can frustrate you. But at the end of the day, we got to learn. Hey, life throws you all kind of funny things. One of my old football coaches used to say, football is a funny shaped ball, and it bounces all kinds of funny different directions. And that's kind of what things have done for us. But we just got to adapt and overcome. And then at the end of the day, every football field you go, well, at least I hope every football field's 53 1/3 and 120 yards long. So every football field's the same, and just got to go out and play.
Before we get started, Justin, before we go to you, let's go ahead and bring in our other guest tonight. Again, that's Ooltewah head football coach Goose Manning, joining us right here on Off the Bench Radio on Talk 102.3. And, Coach, thanks for having us out, and thanks for coming by.
I appreciate you guys, man. Anytime we get a chance to talk about our kids and our program, we always take it. And you guys have been really good to us specifically here at Ooltewah, but all over the county and other counties. So we appreciate it anytime you guys want to, man. Y'all know y'all are welcome.
And the return of one Justin Sims, and we were talking about this before the show. He hasn't been here since the high school football season. When he does show back up, Coach Manning, he's wearing green shorts. So your response to that?
He lucky it's like an off shade of green. It ain't the one down the road. Otherwise, he'd had to change. We just sent him to Publix to buy some of those Ooltewah shorts they sell.
I tell you what, I don't have any red in my wardrobe, and green is such a beautiful, beautiful color. But I can handle this view only because that turf is green out there.
If they didn't make me have green turf, we'd have changed it.
We should have done. Jeff Kate and I were really hoping for a red turf. But
hey, man,
I got to tell you, this thing is beautiful.
I tell you what's really cool is in college I got to watch them redo Carson Newman's, and they just redid the turf. So I didn't get to see the whole process. But this thing, we walked for practice. We for years have walked down to the practice field down there by the interstate. So every day we get to see it on the way up, and then they get a lot done in an hour and a half, 2 hours. So we see it on the walk back up, and man, it's been crazy. And y'all probably got time to talk about that later, scheduled in. But man, the process for this was just so cool to watch. And luckily we have one of my seniors. His dad is the project manager for all of these. So he kept us updated, and everybody complaining about none of that rain, but kept all these fields getting done on time. So.
Jeff Kate, Justin Sims, once again coming to you live on the road this week, once again from Exit 11, campus of Ooltewah High School. And Justin, we were talking about one of the new turf fields in Hamilton County right here at Ooltewah High School. And we'll be getting a lot of use this fall, and looking forward to those pads popping under those Friday night lights. So won't be long, my friend.
Yeah, I'm curious, coaches. And I know, like I said, most of these kids have probably played on turf by this point, but what's the initial reaction, Coach, when they get out there like, hey, I'm faster? Or what's the kind of the kids' reaction been to this field up here today?
Well, so far they all think they're fast anyways. Doesn't matter if they're on grass or whatever. So you got to remind them like, hey, buddy, it don't change that much. And then then the natural reaction is talk about, oh, like Coach, it's hot. Well, it is, but it's a degree or two different. It's not enough to make that big of a difference. And with the wet bulb that we all go by now, like it doesn't really measure temperature radiating off the turf. It's air pressure, wind, it measures everything, right, to tell us if we can go or not, and it's not going to be any hotter here really than it is down there. And then the other thing that today I was making fun of today because it was so hot we started with no shoulder pads on for all of our non-contact type stuff. And one of them laid out to block a kick on field goal block, and got all the rubber because it's still brand new. Like we only been on it 2 days, so like they got all the rubber on them, and they were they were spitting it out of their mouth. I'm like, hey, welcome to it, boys.
Gotta break it in.
But hey, here's the deal: it's not mud, and you don't have to bang your muddy cleats off before you go in the locker room.
And that makes the coach's job's a lot easier too. Not to clean up.
And I got to delete rain plan off my practice schedule, and I had to put lightning in there. So the only thing getting me off this thing now is lightning. I don't care how hard it rains because it drains good now. But like I said yesterday, we were on it for about an hour, and then lightning hit us. We had to go to the gym. I'm like, I can't even hang out on this thing.
Now, you mentioned before, this kind of, you saw the process firsthand with Carson Newman and this one as well. So kind of tell us about the process, because I think you told us off air it was a little over a week total from the time they brought everything here and they got everything laid down, correct?
Yeah, so initially we were supposed to get started first. They were going to start on ours first because they were going to do some dirt work at Saudi and all this. Well, they had some trouble getting a permit for the ADA handicap stuff on the visitor bleachers, right? No big deal. So they started Saudi's first. And about the time they got done with Saudi stuff with the dirt work, they sent their dirt work crew here, and then the turf started over there. And and then now they're moving to Howard and that kind of stuff, right? So basically what they did, I was telling you guys a little bit earlier, short version, they ripped out. The problem here is you got to find a place to send the water, right? We're kind of landlocked. Our drains are what they are, but previously we only had one drain for this entire stadium, and it was out the back of the scoreboard, right? So all the water from the entire hill on campus comes down here, goes to the north end of the end zone to a 1 6-inch drain, and that was it. So it would rush out and get all down there and run the animal clinic out and flood their property, and you don't want to do that. They're good neighbors. They help us out, and we do good work with them. So they came down, they leveled our playing surface and took it down 15 inches from the top of the track of the curb. And basically what they did is they created a retention pond. They put 15 inches of gravel. So all the water now goes down into two 12-inch pipes that run all the way down from inline to inline to an 18-inch pipe that runs out the back and floods. So the water all goes down before it goes out. So by the time it gets to this alcove right here, I mean, it's trickling out into the creek that's already there. It was really cool to watch. And that whole process, they probably started at the very end of May. But by the time they got the turf here and delivered, it was probably 8 days, counting Saturday. They worked on Saturday and Sunday. The only day they didn't work, I thought they could have. It was only like 75 degrees, so I don't think it was hot enough for them to be out there and work because they were out here. I mean, like I said, it wasn't raining at all. So, but it was pretty cool, man. Like they rolled it out and then cut all the numbers and hashes and logos and all that kind of stuff in. Man, it was really neat to watch.
Yeah, obviously the time spent now with like your field management's cut. What do you do with all that extra time? And more importantly, what are the detention kids having to do during detention time when you can't stripe the football field anymore?
Yeah, so I tell you, everybody talks about the time, and I'm very lucky at Ooltewah High School. Our booster club and our touchdown club is awesome. Like I've never honestly had to line a field as the head coach. Now I go every time I can, but it's more for moral support and to thank the dads that volunteer their time on Sundays to come cut because we were lining 2 fields in the fall, right? You line the practice field and then you come out here on Wednesdays and do this before every home game. But I've been very lucky that I have not had to do a ton of that. But what from my standpoint, from the head coach at Ooltewah, I'm going to say $15,000-$20,000 a year on not necessarily gas for the mower because that's kind of a provisional cost, but like no paint. We paint so much, right? The paint machines that we service every year, the mower, I get my mowers for sale if anybody is interested. Our football mower is for sale. We're selling the paint machines. Like we don't need any of that anymore, and that's going to save me a bunch of money. That now, not that it's not like it's obviously it's absolutely necessary, but now it can go to the kids directly. Like that's gear for the guys. That's equipment for the guys, and not stuff that's going to you paint and cut and get rid of it. So.
Well, it's definitely, like we mentioned before, it's going to be it's good to see the investment going into just, these schools that have needed whether it's a new turf field or just a new field period, it's definitely a good thing to see, and it's definitely, all of our athletes definitely deserve that across the board. So, I guess let's transition here, Justin. Both of these guys right here were multi-sport athletes in high school. Coach Mainor came to us from the state of Florida, and you're a Florida State fan, right?
I am. Go Noles.
How does it feel knowing your alma mater, the mascot was Gators, and you're a Florida State fan?
I really didn't
the logo
think
was the same too, man.
Yeah, logo is the same as the University.
It killed
of Florida.
you, didn't it?
I don't. Well, the funny part is we were actually what Tyner's colors are now. At our high school, we were maroon and it was a yellow. We call it gold, but it's really a yellow. So a guy that was the head coach there back in, I think in the late 80s, when Florida State got rocking, Bobby Bowden had him going. He was a big Florida State fan, and to just really tick off all the Florida fans, we were the Baker Gators, and we were Florida State Seminole colors. So
there you go, perfect.
And he looks good in that with that power T on the Tyner Ram helmet.
You guys are just really just throwing it all in there, huh?
That's all coming together.
That's the only power T I like. So
I'm curious, coaches, where's programs at? Like, just let's talk football. You're a few weeks out from the season. Are there position battles going on? Do you kind of know what you have up front? Where's the program out right now, a couple weeks out from the season?
For us and Tyner, last year we were very young. We replaced 18 from the state championship year. We only had 3 guys coming back to us that actually started or were any kind of rotation. So you think about that, only 3 guys, offense and defense. So that's a lot to replace. We don't have that same excuse that we can use this year, because all of those positions that those guys were playing, they're back this year. The one thing that I think we're looking at really hard is quarterback. So we graduated Jamari Ballard. He took after Josh Jackson, and so we've got we've got 3 kids that are really pushing for the starting job. We've got a junior named Tyler Anderson, who had a really good spring game. We had a spring game against Walker Valley. He's it's funny. He's not the kid that at practice you would think, oh, he's the guy, but then when the lights turn on, he plays to the best of his ability. And then we have a sophomore upcoming, Keontae Price. The funny thing about Keontae, he walked into my office, and so his freshman class was the first one I inherited, or I got as a head coach. And he came in, he said, I play quarterback. And I said, no, you don't. Because he's about 6'2". At that time, he was probably 220 pounds. And come to find out, he had been playing left tackle for the middle school at Tyner Middle.
Oh, wow.
So he comes over, and it's kind of the same thing as Josh. Josh is, he was a chubby kid when we first got there. And I said, throw a football, and, of course, he threw a really nice tight spiral.
Yeah, he did.
And so Keontae did the same thing. And so our left tackle from the middle school now is vying for a starting spot for a quarterback for the Tyner Rams. And then we had a transfer in, a kid named Peyton McKinley he transferred from Ringgold. And so he's going to be he's also competing. He does some really good things. He's got really good footwork, good mechanics. So all three of them have really positive things that they have with their game. They're all three very different, but they all three do really, really. I mean, just they're great kids. First of all, you don't have to coach a lot of behavioral things, good grades, and then so we're in a good position.
Goose, Coach Manning, let's throw that over to you as well. Talk about kind of where you guys are at going into 2024, and what should we expect when the Ooltewah Owls hit this new turf field coming up in August?
Yeah, so we're kind of similar. We graduated a bunch. Our entire offensive line graduated, all 5 of those guys, and then all 4 of our defensive linemen, we graduated all 4 of those guys, and they all went to play college football. So up front. We're really trying to see who wants to be the dude, right? Now we got some juniors, so we won't start a senior up front. I don't think. I don't think so. No, we got one. Yeah, we got one that'll roll both ways. So I mean that's 7 or 8 spots that we got to find guys who wants to be tough and who wants to play 5A football in a region with Walker Valley, Ray County, McMinn, and obviously East Hammond, Howard, so. That's big boy football, right? It's about as high as you can get in the state. So who wants to do that? Now, we really like our young guys. We got some sophomores that are going to end up playing a bunch, and we're going to try to limit what they have to do, both offense and defensive side of the ball. Last year we were lineman heavy. We probably had 28 dang linemen. And this year we're fighting the same battle that everybody else in the county is, looking for them, kind of. So that's kind of what we are. I feel really good about where we're at receiver. Offensively, I'm calling the offense this year, so we're going to do some things and open the playbook up a little bit. I really like everything we put in. Our kids are doing it. There's not a lot of hesitation on where to go and what to do. Now it's execution and doing it against somebody. Like we got some scrimmages coming up next couple of weeks that we'll really see offensively what we're about and who we kind of are, because it looks everybody undefeated on the whiteboard. It all looks good when you know who to block and all that kind of stuff. Defensively, we put in an entire new defense, right? So we put new offense, new defense. We got Cody Rayburn from Saudi Daisy, who's a really solid DC, one of the best. To me, if I hadn't got Josh Roberts, that was the best pickup of the coaching circle, in the offseason, was getting Cody. He does a great job, not only coaching football and that, but teaching the game, teaching what you're supposed to do, why you're supposed to do it, why we do it this way, what happens if you don't, and how to fix it. Like I said, we're replacing the whole D-line. We got a really solid linebacker crew. I'm feeling really good at where we're at. We got Asa McMillan, who's, to me, the best linebacker in our area. He's just a really good football player. But if you check the tape, he is in the camera film for every single tackle that we have on camera, every single one of them. And in the secondary, we replaced a couple guys. We lost one to transferred to Boyd. And the spring, and then we lost a kid transferred to Red Bank. So we're trying to figure out who those guys are. But here's the deal, we always talk about it, we're gonna coach the kids we got. We're gonna coach them to the best of our ability, and play with who we got. We're gonna do stuff the way it's supposed to be done, and it is what it is. You know what I mean? And then, like I said, I talk about some of the coaches we got. Having Cody's great, but Josh Roberts is a dude now, and they're both awesome people. But we got a really solid coach. It's the best coaching staff I've had since we've been here. And I appreciate all the guys that have coached with us before, but
I take offense to that.
that I've had since I've been here.
Okay,
that's a perfect segue.
And listen, I tried to get Coach Mainor to come back too, but he just keeps telling me no. I'm going to ask him every season though.
Back here with Ooltewah head football coach Goose Manning and Tyner head football coach Christian Mainor, and you guys were both on staff here at Ooltewah, so you guys definitely are friends on and off the field for sure. But you both are head coaches now. You haven't met up in the regular season, but kind of talk about being friends off the field in an ultra competitive environment, which is head coaching in high school football.
I really don't even like him. We just had to work together for so long. You just learn to deal with him.
Yeah, my room when I worked here, I taught here for 3 years. I had the oven in my room, and a lady named Sarah Woods, if you're around Ooltewah, you know her name.
Oh yeah, man.
She cooked in my room, whether it was breakfast, whether it was lunch. Shoot, if we were here during dinner time, I wouldn't be surprised.
She's really the only reason I'm still teaching, because I didn't have to budget breakfast.
There you go.
I get fed every day, man. She's awesome.
But he'd come down to my room all the time, and I'd like to tell myself it's because we were friends, but he was really there for the food, I bet.
Yeah.
Hey,
You're speaking this guy's language down here, Justin
we're
Sims.
talking-
I'm
food.
telling you, man, she can cook now. But no, actually, the funny story, we got really lucky with Coach Mainor. This was when Scott Chandler first got the job here, and I'd coached with him. We were on staff with Mac Bryan, and he actually just applied and got a special education job and was walking down the hall, looked kind of athletic. So Coach Chandler was like, "You coach football?" And he's like, "Well, I'd like to." And so we were like, "Well, what do you think about coaching freshmen?" And we met one day. Me, him, and Doug Green met one day. When he left, I told Doug Green, I was like, he got to coach with us, man. he too good to send down there with the ninth graders. We need to get that knocked out. And since then, man, he's been good. And when Coach Green left, and we were looking for an offense coordinator, Scott asked me if I was interested in it, and I said, it ain't me, it's Christian. Like, he needs to be the dude that does that. He's a football junkie. Unfortunately, he's a Cowboys fan, but they do some good stuff on offense. They just don't do nothing in the playoffs, right? But
It's
yeah,
like being
man,
a
we've been
Tennessee fan.
Yeah, all right, buddy, I know. I didn't say nothing.
Get the hopes high, thinking we're gonna be all right, and then all of a sudden,
Oh, man.
Yeah, welcome to it.
Well, I mean, you're surrounded by three of them here, Coach Mainor, and
Coach.
you can talk about Florida State all you want to, but when those two teams met on the field, we know who won that game for a national championship.
Yeah, but he'll tell you. I'll tell you right now, we've been friends long enough. He'll tell you that the starting quarterback didn't play.
it's true.
He's
true,
good enough
but-
for
But
us.
no, man, that's the cool part, man. It's
Championship.
been really fun, just because we've gotten to kind of learn the game together. Because when he got here, it was my second year really coaching, so we've gotten to go through a bunch of stuff, and then we haven't played in the regular season, but we've scrimmaged every year, and we throw 7-on-7 anytime we need a JV game. It's easy to call your buddy and say, hey, what are you doing here? And I'll tell you one thing that's been cool about it is, like, both of us got to work for Scott Chandler, so that comes out in us a lot more than I think we realize. Not only in the way we practice and the way we put the schedules together, but just, you pick up, when you're around people, you pick up mannerisms and one-liners, and Scott Chandler had a bunch of really good ones. So it's been cool to kind of grow up, do football together.
Let's go in. Jesse's telling us we have a phone call. Let's go ahead and bring him on right here. You're on the Talk Monster. How we doing?
How are you guys doing?
Not too bad. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine. This is Arnie McCarson. I know I've got contact big time with Tyner. I coached at Tyner for years and coached at didn't coach at Ooltewah, but I know the Manning family. They are all Tyner people.
Oh, yeah.
And
late
I
80s.
watched Goose grow up, and he's a good kid, good coach. And I went to see the football fields the other day. The Saudi Daisy and the Ooltewah field. They are beautiful, and I'm really glad that they got that done.
Yeah, it's definitely, like we talked about during the show, it's definitely going to be a big thing for both of those schools, and whenever it spreads the rest of the county, it's going to make things around here in Hamilton County for the public schools a lot better, and something that these kids can take pride in for sure.
Yeah, I got some bragging to do. I was the coach that beat the Baylor McCauley the first time. The first public school to beat a private school. That was Tyner High School.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not going to say anything else, but
We appreciate that. That's funny.
I want Goose to come out this year. This is his year. He's a good kid and good coach, and like I said, I know his dad and mom, and really know the whole family.
Usually I got to apologize when somebody knows my dad.
Well, we appreciate you calling in tonight for sure.
All
Thank
right.
you, sir.
Y'all
Thank you, sir.
Have a good night. Thank you. Bye.
Well, there you go. So it wasn't your family, but somebody you knew definitely called in. So say thanks for sure, right?
I really expected that to be Scott Chandler. It's good to
that's
hear from.
great.
It's good to hear from Mr. McCarson.
Well, and one thing I had on my list here I want to talk about that involved both of you guys and another guy who was on staff here with you guys. He's up at Walk Around now. Ben Braun, you know where I'm going with this, guys, was back in 2020 during the pandemic, when everybody was, at they're laughing. I think we know where this is going. But Ooltewah put on a virtual spring game. I think it was NCAA or college football?
It was NCAA 14.
14. So, you put together a roster of the current Owls back then and then the legends.
Yep.
And so I think, Mainor and Coach Braun were, leading the charge, and Manning was, I think, the announcer during that game, and it came down to the wire, and I think you got the win here, Coach Mainor.
I did. I got the bragging rights, and let me tell you, if we played today, Ben was in trouble then. He'd be in trouble now because I spent way too much time in the last 2 weeks playing NCAA 25.
So that was my follow-up question. When, with college football 2025 out now, when can we expect the rematch, and can we have it here or just anywhere and make it an off-the-bench exclusive?
I'm down. That was one of the most fun things we've done because, that was a time when you were trying to find content, right? And we for whatever reason, I don't remember what made me think of doing it. And they were all about it. They came in and we were 6 feet apart, playing in Christian's. Actually, we're playing in Christian's basement.
Not when I scored the last touchdown. I got in Ben's face on that one. I had to make it know.
But man, that was such a fun deal, and that was probably at the time, and probably even now, that was probably our most watched. Hoot TV YouTube thing. We probably had 1,200 people watching that thing. And it's we were sitting there because we'd already know. We played it a couple of days ahead of time, recorded it, threw commercials in there, gave our spot. I mean, if you would go back and watch it, it's a pretty good little deal. But, man, that was so fun.
Yeah, that was definitely fun. And, I lend my voice, I think, to the broadcast there as the sideline reporter, of course, during that time. So it was definitely fun, definitely good to see the reaction.
Well,
I think.
And that was the cool part too. Is you guys all leaned into that so hard because you guys were still doing the red zone stuff and y'all hopped in on it. News Channel 12 did it and they interviewed him in my classroom on 12 or I think it was 12. But everybody just leaned. They were like, you know what? Let's do it. And it was a really cool deal at a really kind of tough time for everybody.
Justin, before we go to our next break, you've been leaning into the college football 25 as well. Mm-hmm. Give us your thoughts. Rematch with Coach Braun and Coach Mainor, who takes the top spot?
I don't know, man. I think what we got to do is we got to push for a Videotron up here in the Owl Manor, and maybe we do it outside on the Jumbotron.
Hey, we'll do it, man. I'll do it. That's my next project. We got the turf done. Tim James helped us, and we're getting that thing done in Hamilton County and getting caught up, and we're doing a lot for our kids. And that's the only natural step, right? Is to start throwing video boards up.
Jumbotron up, yeah, absolutely.
But before we get you home, though, right, Coach Mainor?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, I'll fundraise for mine. Y'all worry about your field. I'll get the video board.
It's kind of crazy to say young coaches. It feels like Coach Manning down there is an old gray hair now, been around the block a few seasons. We got
it's because of the job. It gives you gray hair sometimes.
Talking about coaches, though, you guys have had several that you've come across, you've played against. If you were to build an ultimate 7-on-7 team of area coaches, who's going to be on? I think Coach Westmoreland's got to be on your roster.
More importantly, who would the starting quarterback be?
Who would the starting Well, I mean, we don't run we can 7-on-7, so I don't think Coach Manning could be the QB.
Well, I could still throw now. Listen, I didn't find my arm until I got to college. Then I can spin it deep, especially.
And we only got about 2 minutes, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then put Christian at receiver. He played quarterback, but that was because I think the guy got hurt.
Well, let's throw it to Coach Mainor right here. You got. Drew Akins was a quarterback, coach at Walker Valley. You got Manning right here, coach here at Ooltewah. So, quarterback at Ooltewah. Who's your QB on your 7-on-7 squad?
I've seen Goose throw a lot.
Just remember where you're playing your home game.
That's true. I'd give the nod to Goose. I'd give the nod to Goose. I've never seen Drew throw the ball. So.
And we're doing Hamilton County schools. That's way up to interstate. You know what I mean?
True.
7-on-7. Hamilton County 7-on-7.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know. Listen, I've watched some Boyd tape, and they ran a bunch of option when they were winning state titles with Akins.
Drew really likes 7-on-7, so I may need to go with Drew.
Well, you let the cat out of the bag, Coach Manning. You're going to be playing your home games, Coach Mainor, right here at Ooltewah High School on this turf field. Talk about what that means to you and your kids, and breaking this turf in and making it harder on this guy in case something goes wrong with the turf, right?
That's right. Well, first, I'm very thankful that Coach Manning and Donnie Mullins, who's a principal here at Ooltewah, is allowing us to do that. We're kind of homeless right now when it comes to football. It's been tough. There's a lot of things that I've learned, from the kids, and I think that if we could go back and we could redo some things, like, playing at Findlay was awesome. It was cool for the kids. But, originally when we knew we weren't going to have a field, Coach Manning and I talked about it, and we said, hey, I want to play home games here. And fortunately it didn't work that year, but it's worked now. So